Welcome to the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. We're excited to come to you today with Dr. Erica Mahn, 2024 Most Influential Woman in Southwest Missouri. The Pharmacy Frontier podcast is dedicated to the pharmacy profession. And let me remind everyone that our podcast is available for streaming on your favorite podcast streaming app, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or YouTube. The comments and opinions shared today are those of the host and our guests, are not official statements of the MPA, Mercy, Mitchell Family Pharmacy, nor Alps Pharmacy. Tim Mitchell and I will serve as your co-host today, and today we welcome Dr. Erica Mahn, who is a board-certified advanced diabetes manager. She serves as the executive director of community pharmacy at Alps Pharmacy, but she also serves the Ozarks Fighting Back Board through the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. She's also on the Christian County Links Board of Directors. She's a UMKC Precept of the Year. She's an MPA Making a Difference Award winner, and now serves on the MPA Board of Directors. We're looking forward to talking with Erica this afternoon and learn more about her approach to pharmacy practice and how she not only gives back to pharmacy, but also how she serves her community. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Let's start off with the big one.
Don't worry. I've listened to all of them, so I kind of know what I'm in for. So I'm excited to talk with you guys.
Well, this is a big honor for us to get one of the most influential women in Southwest Missouri on our podcast today. This is fantastic. Congratulations.
Where's your crown? We want to see your crown.
Thank you. I totally appreciate awards. I it's very humbling, honestly, but not my comfortable place to be, honestly. Like, that is not something that I search out to do. But in the end, anything that happens with pharmacy and awards I might receive, it's all about my team and the things that we do for our patients here at Alps. And on, as a group of women and very impressive women in the community. And in that group, I was one of the only healthcare individuals that were represented. So I kind of take that as a way to keep bringing healthcare to the forefront, things that are happening, in current topics, and everything's an opportunity for a connection. So I truly appreciate it. Totally humbled and honored, but it's a thing that happens, and it's exciting, but it's also overwhelming sometimes. So,
well, you're a very humble individual, and I appreciate that about you. But I think it's important that we, as healthcare practitioners, we do need to brag on ourselves. I know what you and your team was doing during the pandemic. I know what you and your team do when there's, things that are, having issues in the community. I've heard. Because you're very active in Missouri Pharmacy Association, you and Melody both, and your whole team, the things that you guys do are absolutely amazing. So where I'd like to go with this is, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about the award, but I'd like to ask you to tell me some of the things that drew you to your current employer, and some of the things that you've done over I don't remember how many years you said you've been there, but, just kind of what you're planning on doing for the future. So go into that.
Okay. So I graduated from UMKC in 2012. That was when it was just a 2-campus program, and I knew I wanted to be back in Springfield. That's where I'm the oldest of 6 siblings. So I knew I wanted to be back with my siblings where they were still in high school. So it was important to be back in Southwest Missouri. That's always been my home. So I was looking for jobs and did rotations in Southwest Missouri as much as I could. One with Tim, one with Dr. Lyons Burney. And between those connections and the things I learned at those practice settings, ended up meeting Don and Melody Savely. So we spent a couple hours one day at a McAllister's here in Nixa and just talked through what they wanted to do, what they were trying to do but needed some help with. They were learning, we had one location at that time and knew that there was more to add in. It was a very busy pharmacy with great relationships with patients, automatic refill programs, and the kind of the basics in 2012, but no immunizations, not really an MTM program, all of these things that they wanted to add in. They needed someone to do it. So I started with them, and it also gave Melody an opportunity to step away from the main behind the desk pharmacy work and focus on other things, because she was in MPA and all of those pieces. So immediately started working full time. And then quickly we started adding in services. So that first year added in protocols for vaccinations, a lot of MTM services, started up Direct Care Pro, all of these things in the first couple of years, and then started having kiddos. So that was an addition to, and figuring out work-life balance and all of that. And so I mark a lot of my like programs we added by my kids, because that's what keeps in my mind of like the date of when things happen. So after my son was born in 2015, we opened a specialty pharmacy as kind of the first step outside of the community pharmacy realm. And then we added on another community pharmacy location, a long-term care location. And now we have 3 community pharmacy locations, the specialty pharmacy and the long-term care location, along with an infusion center and a direct primary care group. So we've grown a lot in these last almost 13 years that I've been at Alps. All of the things that we do in the end is because there's a patient need. So I remember in the first couple of years, me and Don Melody's daughter-in-law, Morgan, we would have patients come in that needed antipsychotic injections and nowhere to get them because the provider that was writing them just left. All of a sudden, they had no way to get these injections. We're like, well, we can do this. We can figure this out. So we started giving injections. And, like we're trained on this. This is something Board of Pharmacy says we could do. Why are we not giving these injections? And then we get with the manufacturers and realize, oh, you're going to pay us for the injections. So, just things like that kept snowballing. And now it's just a service set that every patient that we have offers, along with sync and immunizations and delivery and free medication packaging, all of those things that have kind of come up and grown because of a need in the community. And then people usually really like it. So we just make it bigger and better and try to continue across the other stores. So
I know you guys have always been forward thinkers. And I remember visiting your store many years ago. Actually, it was when Tanner was working there. And by the way, Erica mentioned that she was a student at our store. All of my pharmacists that I have right now were students at her store and actually worked at her store and became great pharmacists. So thank you for giving back and helping Mitchell's grow. That being said, I think, being innovative, always being in on the ground floor and being forward thinking is really important. And I know Donna and Melody are very forward thinkers, but we all know Erica is the quiet one in the background, really making a lot of those things work. And I think Donna and Melody will definitely give you props for that.
Yes. So, they know that too. We kind of have an ongoing joke of Melody's the cheerleader of like, okay, I heard about this. Can we do it? Can we figure it out? How are we going to make it happen? And I'm like, okay. Yes, we can do it. Let me think through how we're going to do this. If I have the people to do it, and then we figure it out. But without Don and Melody and their openness to any of my crazy ideas along with that, they'll start with an idea and then I take it usually 3 times bigger and bolder and whatever we're going to figure out on the other side. So without their support, it would not have happened. So one thing is our call room too. That happened out of COVID, out of necessity. And it was in my mind, I think this would work better. But now I can't imagine running pharmacies without a dedicated
practice. Practice.
And people are so much happier because of it, because you don't have phones ringing off the hook all the time. It's just, you have your devoted people to work that. They know that's their job, and then they can focus on patients. So just little things like that I'm like, I think I want to do this. And they push it along, we figure it out. So
I think your stores were one of the first stores that I remember. I mean, I know people have been doing sync for a long time, but they didn't call it sync. But when I visited, was one of the first times I heard the word, we syncing these up. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool, and then learn from you all, how to move that forward. And then of course I learned about Pioneer RX and how it works and the pharmacy system that we use today. So you guys do a lot of great things. So I can't applaud you guys enough. And I appreciate what you've done for the profession. Daniel, I'll shut up and let you ask some questions.
No, this is great. I just, your dedication to the profession and making all that work and being progressive there. How do you find time for these other community activities that you're doing down there in the Ozarks?
Yeah. So my husband's a teacher. Now he's an assistant principal actually at a school here in Nixa. And I went to Nixa, I graduated from Nixa. So when I moved back, I knew that being a part of the community and being district was a big part of my heart. And on my rotation with Tim, actually, I saw he was providing vaccines to Neosho schools. And in my mind, I'm like, well, why don't we do this everywhere? Everybody needs to be doing this. This is not Like, why is this just a Neo show? So that was one of my first projects, honestly, when I got back, is I want to take over next to schools. Like, let's do this. So, and luckily my family was in the district and I knew a lot of people, but those passions just kind of blend, I guess, is where that ends up. And when I'm involved on school things, and then they ask me about other things, and then it just keeps happening, with growth and things. And I didn't necessarily plan to be back in Nixa. And I wouldn't say that even when I lived here during school, we weren't really involved in community things. You just lived here, but now you don't realize how many people that know you and and you've been here long enough that it's a natural fit for a lot of these projects and programs. On the community partnership of the Ozarks side, that really stemmed out of our work with the Dream Coalition and Drug Take Back Days. So through that coalition and that organization, we still manage all the Drug Take Back Days for Springfield. That's changed a lot over the years, because it used to be you only had those 2 times of a year to drop off your medications. And now we have permanent drug take back boxes all over all the time. So that's changed a lot, but it's still a passion, obviously. And we're on the side of Springfield where we need those resources available at all times. So that's been a passionate project of ours for a long time. So we commit quite a few resources to that. But it fits naturally with what we do. And on any of the things that I am a part of, that's what's important to me. It has to fit with what I do. And I'm getting to the point now to where, like, I'm saying no to things. Like, I can't, there's just not enough time in the day. I'm sure you guys have been there too. Plenty of time.
You have to stay centered. You have to stay centered.
There's so many things. But I'm better at saying that now. I never wanted to say no before, but I'm better at saying that and acknowledging that and realizing that if it fits with something I already have, yes, I'm ready. But I can't create something new as easily right now. So I have 4 kids. Yeah. So they keep us busy. So
tell us about the kids.
Okay.
A little bit about the kids. Yes. Maybe I'm bringing this in too early, but hey, you mentioned it a few times.
So 4 kiddos, 11, 9, 5, and 3. My 11-year-old Stella, she loves dance and art and just is the perfect big sister. My 9-year-old is my only boy, and he is all about soccer. So we're running to soccer all the time for him. 5 and 3-year-old are just my little firecrackers. My 5-year-old, I think, could run the world today if she wanted to. She is the first one up, makes her own lunch, does all the things. And I can barely get my 11-year-old to do any of that, but she is just on it. And the 3-year-old is the typical baby of the family, the spunky one that has all the opinions and is not afraid to tell you about them. So, but it's so much fun. And everyone's like, how do you, like, why 4? Well, my husband's a teacher too, obviously. So we both like kids. That was always something we knew we wanted to have. And it's fun. It keeps us busy. I came from a big family, like I mentioned. So I'm used to there always being something next, something else. We don't have much downtime. That's not normal for us. So it works well. There are some days that it's a little crazy, but it works well. We enjoy it.
Well, it sounds like you've got an amazing family, and I appreciate that. I can tell you, I have 5 children, and all of my kids are now out of the house, and it's kind of lonely.
Right.
My wife and I look at each other, we're like, what do we do now? And actually coming out of COVID and some of the other things, it was kind of like, do we need to just let our guard down and relax a little bit? And so, but in a blink of an eye, those kids are going to be all grown. So enjoy them, enjoy those soccer games, enjoy whatever other things they enjoy doing, because it's going to be they're all going to be grown up soon. So, well, thank you for sharing about your family.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Daniel?
Yeah. What a great family. Do you get them involved in your pharmacy activities as well?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of renovations and moves of locations here lately. So they've been with us for a lot of long nights and setting up shelves and all the things. So, they help some and then play on the floor. I have all the pictures of them playing on the floor around everybody else, of course, but they enjoy it. So, and I think they like seeing what happens, they know I'm answering calls all the time and doing things all the time. They don't always know what it's about. So when they're at the pharmacies, they actually realize, like, oh, you do that part? I'm like, yes, that's me too. And I've always given them all their vaccines. That's been a thing that, like, mom does that for us. And so it's always weird when we have to go to the doctor and they're like, what are you doing to me? So, it's just part of life. We enjoy it, but they're with me for a lot of it.
Good deal. Erica, you mentioned the drug take back program. We have several listeners that aren't pharmacy oriented. Put a little plug in there so the community people know, what does that mean, drug take back?
Yeah. So the drug take back days, there are 2 national DEA sponsored drug take back days in the spring and the fall, kind of a spring cleaning and fall, I guess cleaning kind of process. They usually have community locations throughout the area that are sponsored and set up. So like for Springfield, for example, we usually rotate between 3 different locations, a Cox, a Mercy, depending on the timing. Libraries, we got the library board involved in the last few years, which has been really helpful. And then usually a pharmacy space too. So no questions asked, drop off location with staffed police officers on site that do all the disposal for us, and just a safe way to have patients take care of medications and dispose of them properly. So, and then the permanent drug take back boxes are also great too. And I think a lot of our pharmacies in the area have those now, but not everybody realizes that those are available. So finding, and there's a map available, locations that are listed on through the state and everything, but it's a great resource to have for patients.
And it's really designed to get those unused, expired medications out of the house, off the streets,
Yep.
right? Whether it be grandparents that may no longer need it, or it's antibiotic that are no longer being taken, just get those out of the hands of others that don't need to be taking those kind of things.
Yes. Yeah.
Good deal.
Great resource and great organization too to keep it going.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Missouri Pharmacy Association. I know you've been on the board for, I think, a few years now, and kind of tell us a little bit about your journey with MPA. I know your boss has been very involved over the years, and you're kind of taking that in as well. So tell us a little bit about your journey with MPA. Yeah.
So with being here with Melody, obviously, I learned a lot through MPA and what MPA was always working on consistently. I think the first year of the Young Leadership Retreat, which was great. Kind of that was probably one of the first times that I really put myself out there and to see, reach outside of our pharmacy space. And with that, I still have people from that group that Kendall was in that group, Annie Eisenbeis was in that group, people that we just connected with immediately and now on lifelong friends. And I know I can text and call them for anything if something comes up. So that was probably the start of things and getting a feel for, I could do more here. And then the encouragement and support from Donna Melody too of, how that would work with the next piece of Alps Pharmacy kind of being in that group and working through things. And I was nervous, of course, of figuring out how that would fit. And now it feels a lot more natural. So I'm secretary this year, and it's just, I know what's coming next. I know what to expect. I know who to talk to for things. And it's nice to be able to have a handle on what's happening in the state and also federally as well. And I think we take for granted, especially as a community pharmacy space, we're working in a business ourselves. So it has to be profitable. And you take for granted all the things you're doing during the day that really impact pharmacy as a whole on the state side and even the federal side. So things that I took for granted. I thought everybody knew these things, but they don't. So when I have something to share, that's always really helpful. And on the board side, I think I'm talking a lot now, but I'm not a big vocal, I'm not the first person to put something in the conversation, but I like to be able to give my input and just share the information when available. So it's been great. It's been really great.
Daniel?
Well, what does the future of MPA look like for you then? What's on the horizon that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so I am secretary this year and plan to move forward through the board steps and levels is the plan. So president eventually is the goal, as long as everything goes as predicted and planned. This year, big legislative year, and it has been for several years, but with Senate bill and House bills going through on PBM side and getting that transparency passed, and hopefully a few other things included in there to work through PBM issues, I guess. There's so many things you can say. That's a whole other podcast on just the PBM side. But I think we finally have some traction and good traction this year. It feels like more than the past years to get something done. So, nearly daily, there's something happening on the legislative side of sending a support in for a current bill or talking with a member of a committee to make sure that they know what's happening and being a resource. So that's my focus for this year. In the future, I think there are some standards of practice pieces on pharmacy and kind of mimicking what other states are doing to make it a pharmacist is a pharmacist, but they do things in a way that is best for patients is the goal. So what does that look like, and how can the board adapt to that, and what does Missouri do to adapt to that? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think it's important to have that vision, down the road as far as where you're at currently, where you're going. Mm-hmm. Our profession has probably never been so unpredictable right now that it is today. And, they're constantly throwing curves at us. Do you feel like we're making progress, legislatively this year? I know back when I was president, we were trying to get PBM bills passed, couldn't get it done, just because of the nature of the beast. How are you feeling like we're going? I mean, I know we're just kind of getting started here, but there's a lot of important things.
This year feels positive, and I have had many other board members that have said that too, but it feels better than it has, honestly. And that's probably because most states now have something in place. Honestly, that's in our favor. And then federally, it's being mentioned everywhere. FTC, it's not just us anymore. It's everybody realizing and recognizing, this is an issue and we need to figure something out, or you're not going to have pharmacies left. That's the problem here. So what are we going to do to make it better? And I do think the conversation has switched from the questioning of why are you asking of this, of like, okay, well, how are we going to do it? I feel like that it's switched a little bit finally to be, let's get this done, and not why are you asking us this question on the legislator side. So we're getting there. Yes, I believe so.
Well, that's good to hear.
This is a good place to put in that plug for the Missouri Pharmacy Association Legislative Day on April 2nd. So all our listeners can be a part of that. Show up in Jeff City, be a part of that. And then we have a couple podcasts already posted out there about our legislative issues that are going on this year, and the PBM issue in specific. Yeah. Great.
Perfect. Yes. Please come to Legislative Day. Great event. A lot of FaceTime with legislators and some great speakers and updates from everybody. So please attend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going across the bottom of the thing right now on our little ticker. Perfect. April 2nd. Yeah. Excited to, and you can go to morx.com to sign up. So we'd like to kind of just finish it up here. I always try to ask our guests a question that's unique about Erica that not everybody may know, that you'd like to share with everybody so people can learn something unique about you. So tell us what you think that would be.
Yeah. So this was kind of hard for me. It's not like I really have hobbies right now. 4 kids, work a lot. So that's not really a thing. But if I were to pick a hobby, it would probably be traveling. And this summer we took a trip to the Olympics in Paris with my family. Wow. So we flew into Iceland and then went to London and then to Paris and kind of explored all of France. And it was a technician asked if I wanted to join. Getting tickets to the Olympics is a whole thing. You have to be allowed in. It's a whole process. And a technician here was like, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And I said yes. Didn't have any idea how much it would actually take to get the planning done. And in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I'll just take my big kids." Well, I can't leave my little kids for 2 weeks. And so everybody went with us. The whole family went to Paris and saw the Olympics. So, but it was, amazing, like so much fun. And we can ride a train with 4 suitcases like nobody's business. So
that's awesome.
Figured it out. So
what events did you go to in the Olympics? I'm curious.
Yeah. So we got to see beach volleyball in front of the Eiffel Tower. That was amazing. Some swimming events. We got to see a rowing event. We had tickets for the rugby finals, and then it was like an all-day event. So we didn't stick with it, and now we missed the bronze medal, all of that. We had, what else was there? Rowing, swimming. I can't think of, I'm missing some others, but just the environment and being there was so much fun and exciting. And so now we're like, oh, we could do this again. LA, like, why not? Let's go again.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. The next Olympics, from what I remember, is going to be in the United States.
It's close. That's nothing compared to what we figured out. So it was very exciting. And a lot of soccer. We got to see a lot of soccer too. I forgot about that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And that's what your son likes to do.
Exactly. I don't know how to forget. It was amazing to see it in the huge stadiums. So yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Erica. This is a fantastic example of how you've excelled, not just in your pharmacy practice, but in the community and in being a volunteer to make things happen. And obviously the honors that you received are well well earned. So we thank you for being a part of that. And we hope we can get you back on a future podcast to talk about some of the pharmacy practice advancement things that you kind of hinted at. I think that'd be a good podcast for the future.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would love to. Thank you, guys.
Well, to our listeners today, thank you for joining us on the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. Please be sure to bookmark and like the Pharmacy Frontiers so you can get all the updates when new podcasts are dropped. And it's available on Podbean, on Spotify, on Apple Music, and on YouTube. Until next time, please remember, it's a good day to be in pharmacy.